making $20,000 with a $3K ante. We're in the beautiful Lex nightclub inside Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. And Robert, you played this event. What happened, man?
Well, I had a lot of chips at one point, but unfortunately I found a way to lose them.
So you playing in this event, what'd you think of the field? It was pretty tough competition out here in Reno.
I had one of the young guns at my table, and he just literally made my life really hard that day.
You know, you've been playing poker for years, and we're really seeing players have gotten a lot better.
Yeah, there's a lot of great talent out there, I'll tell you.
And TV shows like this. I mean, I feel I learn a lot by watching the whole cards and watching the players at the final table. I mean, we sit here for hours and watch poker.
Doesn't get any better than that.
So Kevin raises the $45,000 with his queen jack.
Another spot where I don't like making the call with George making the call on the on the button with pocket sixes. If you're going to play it, go ahead and 3-bet it. I think six-handed final table. I mean, are you on the same page with me on that one, Paul, or are you?
I'm definitely on the same page.
Yeah. George makes the call on the button with his pocket sixes. Marty's going to fold his king four. Now action over to Larry. Larry in the big blind. Looks down at jack deuce.
Yeah, didn't want to defend that one.
So heads up to the flop now. George with his pocket sixes going up against Kevin's queen jack of hearts. And the flop is 2 sevens and a king, a couple of hearts.
Well, the 2 hearts being the important part because Kevin flopped a flush draw.
Kevin's first to act. So Kevin's going to bet $70,000. Now action over to George. We'll see if he wants to make the call.
Yeah, kind of hard to know whether he has the best hand or not, especially with Kevin leading at this pot.
I mean, as played, I hate this. I hate the fold. I mean, you're sitting here, this is the kind of flop you're looking for with pocket sixes. It's pretty polarizing. Sure, there's a lot of combinations, where Kevin has a king here, but everything else he doesn't, and your pocket sixes are ahead. This is actually a good flop for pocket sixes.
Right, I mean, you flat here, and it looks like you have a king, and you're really going to see what Kevin does on the turn.
Yeah. So, hating the fold. I just hate all around the way that George played this. He played it as a set mind, basically.
And he's going to fold, so Kevin Weinman, the architect from Fargo, North Dakota, is going to win the hand. $59,494 on the line. That, a bracelet, and the title of being our new HPT champion.
It's kind of like a lot of these players are not thinking
every year we team up with
flop.
Yeah.
Or they're not thinking what their opponents have or what's going on here.
I think you're right. I think a lot of these guys don't really have...
plan. They don't have a plan.
4th Street and 5th Street, plans for what they're going to do. And it's important to do it. Like, it's important when you make that C bet, you have to have a plan for when you get called or when you get raised, and then what happens on 4th Street, what happens on 5th, on the river.
Right. And that's what all the really good players are going to be thinking here. What happens if they raise the flop? What am I going to do if he bets the flop? Am I going to float to bluff the river? Is he going to c-bet the turn? You should know all possibilities of what you can do.
Yeah.
And they're just playing their cards.
I completely agree. I think that's one of the one of the biggest things that separate, good regs from just kind of new amateurs, is not having that multi-street plan. It's important. That's so much of what it is like, if I do this and then this happens, what happens? Coming up with it starts to get kind of big. You come up with 40 or 50 different plans about what's going to happen on the turn in the river. Because it kind of starts coming out to be like a tree. And what happens if the spade misses? What happens if an ace hits? That's a that's a non-club. But I think that coming up with the more specific you can get, and the more game plans you have, the more you're showing experience there. I completely agree with you. So far, also the only player that we've seen 3-bet light has been Rob. I just kind of mentioned that the only person we've actually seen 3-bet without a very strong hand has been Rob Mitchell.
Yeah, I'd like to see Rob get some chips here.
I would too. I'd like to see what he does with him.
George Kleinman. But with the structure here on the HPT, Robert, it's anybody's game.
I'll tell you what, and the players love the structure. I love the structure. How could you not?
You played this event. The structure wasn't in your favor. Nothing was in your favor because now you're in the broadcast booth with me. Blinds are 10,000, 20,000 with a 3K ante. We start under the gun with
God, look at him licked his lips like that. I think that's one of those Navarro tells.
Blinds are 10,000, 20,000 with a 3K ante. We start under the gun with Rob, and he wakes up with pocket kings.
I love waking up with pocket.
And the eyebrows too, those arching eyebrows, thinking about maybe covering up and then changing his mind.
Kings.
Rob's going to raise to 45,000. Action now over to George. Now George is going to re-raise with the ace-8 of spades.
George is what I call a non-believer.
Larry folds, as does Kevin. Now we're over to Duke. Duke is in the big blind. He doesn't want to defend for that much. Action back now to Rob. He loves every second of this situation.
Yeah, we're going to see a slow all-in. And he does it.
That's exactly what he did. He's all in. Now George on the decision here. Does he want to make the call?
I think George has got too many chips in the middle. I think he has no choice but to call now.
George is pot committed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Rob looked down at his stack, realized that he didn't leave himself with enough chips to actually make the fold if he makes the shove. So just go ahead and make the, no point in, playing it cute. I actually feel like George makes a mistake here by making that raise amount. When you're in a spot where you don't have enough chips to fold to a reship, I think that you're probably just better off making the shove yourself. I don't think he had enough chips where a normal 3-bet, for me at least, would be better than just making the all-in shove 3-bet. So, I mean, it sucks that he ran into kings, but I would have liked seeing George make a 3-bet shove with his stack rather than just making a normal raise and then agonizing over a call and feeling like, oh, I can't fold anything.
He's going to make the call. We're going to flip over the cards, and Rob is going to be a very happy camper. Pocket kings going up against the ace-8.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking at. I'm pretty sure he had less than 15 bigs there. So it seems to me like it's a good stack to 3-bet shove.
Of George. George is at risk in the hand. If he doesn't catch some cards, he's going to be eliminated in 6th place. We go to the flop. A couple of 6s and a 9, 2 clubs.
Not a good flop for George.
So far, so good for Rob, trying to win this hand and eliminate another player at this final table.
Let's see the turn card.
The turn card is the 6 of spades, and now Rob's hand improves to a full house.
And George needs either a 6 or an ace, or his tournament is over.
A pot of just under 650,000 chips.
Needs to see a 6 or an ace.
All right, we go to the river card. George looking for that ace or for that 6. It's not. It's the 4 of diamonds. So the winning hand, a full house, 6 is full of kings. Rob eliminates George, but not for nothing. The 64-year-old commodities trader is going to go home with just over $10,000.
A nice parting gift.
Blinds are up 12,000, 24,000 with a 3K ante. It's James Larson and Robert Williamson III broadcasting from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. It's always fun to be out here in Reno, Robert.
Yeah, they treat you great. The air is so fresh. I just sleep great out here.
Action is folded over to Duke.
Did you see how he looked around before he made that raise?
He likes
Yes, I did. And once again, vocalizing, as he's putting out.
almost every hand, but this time the computer hand. You know where they got that name from?
I never actually heard that story.
Well, I'll tell you what, it took a computer to do it, figure it all out, but that's the average hand. If you look at all the varieties of hands, that's what an average hand is.
Queen 7, why not raise it up to 48,000? Action now to Marty, looking to defend his blind, and he's going to defend that blind by 3-betting. Let's go up to 75,000 with an A6.
Yeah, but somebody finally sniffed out.
Yeah, but Marty, if you're going to make the 3-bet, which I like making the 3-bet here, 48,000, and you're making it 75,000. I mean, it's like a min raise.
Right. It's like they don't know how to size their 3-bets.
And from the small blind, 3-bet should be like 2.5 times to 3 times, right?
It'd be more against Duke because Duke's going to defend a wide range of hands.
Yeah, so you can probably even go up to like 3x. So he makes it 48. You can make it like 150.
Duke's weak raises.
Larry's going to fold. Now over to Duke.
Only problem for Marty, though, is he's out of position.
Okay, hold on. I got to rewind this. I think that we might have had an Exmois sighting. Michelle was here. That's not.
6 or an ace.
All right, we go to the
That's
river
her
card.
right
George
there.
looking
I
for
think.
that
I
ace
think.
for that
I think
six.
we had an
It's
excellent
not,
one
it's the
sliding
four
right
of diamond,
there.
50,000
Let me see.
chips.
This is in fact our own Michelle J.
All right, we go to the river card. George looking for that ace.
Good
or
eye
for that
there,
six.
Rob Zart.
It's
Good
not.
eye.
It's the four of diamonds. So the winning hand, a full house, 6 is full of kings. Rob eliminates George, but not for nothing. The 64-year-old commodities.
So that's why she's not on the episode right now. She's there in Grand Sierra.
We go home with just over $10,000.
A nice parting gift.
And lines
she
are up
goes.
12,000, 24,000 with a 3K ante. It's James Larson and Robert Williamson III broadcasting from the biggest little city
Good
in the world,
eye,
Reno, Nevada. It's
Rob.
always fun to be out here in Reno, Robert.
Yeah, they treat you great. The air is so fresh. I just sleep great out here.
Action is folded over to Duke.
And Duke seems like he likes almost every hand, but this time the computer hand. You know where they got that name from?
I never actually heard that story.
Well, I'll tell you what, it took a computer to do it, figure it all out, but that's the average hand. If you look at all the varieties of hands, that's what an average hand is.
Queen 7, why not raise it up to 48,000? Action now to Marty, looking to defend his blind, and he's going to defend that blind by 3-betting. Let's go up to 75,000 with an A6.
Yeah, but somebody finally sniffed out Duke's weak raises.
Larry's going to fold. Now over to Duke.
Only problem for Marty, though, is he's out of position.
Duke is 31 years old, a professional poker player from Pleasanton, California, primarily a cash game player. He's going to make the call. So Duke with Queen 7 going up against Marty's A6. And we go to the flop. And the flop, 2 jacks and a king. Action is on Marty.
So once again, the flop doesn't fit either hand. But since Marty's got the whip, you know, it's a real important thing when you're the person that's the aggressor. I know we keep harping on that, but that's what it takes to win these tournaments.
Marty's best finish on the
Wow, that's a
HPT,
pretty big bet.
43rd. Definitely done a lot.
130K. That was a big one. Nice C bet. I think I probably would have made it a little bit less, but it did the trick. Got through.
But he also
Better
puts these
guaranteed
stacks out there.
fifth
Like
place
remember
winning
last
right
time
now,
when
but
he was
wants to
bluffing when he re-raised? I feel like he likes putting the big stacks out there on his bluffs.
Yeah. I think that you could be right. I think that if we just focused on Marty and we took the cut from every single time he raised, I think that you could easily be right there because he does seem to have a preference for putting stacks out in certain hands and then putting out his big chips on other hands. I think he could be right there. So like why isn't he firing out 5 of those orange chips rather than a whole stack?
Right, yeah, just something to watch.
Championship. He wants the title. He wants the bracelet. And most importantly, the $59,494. And he wins that hand, stacking to his already sizable chip count. So the best part about being out here, Robert, at Grand Sierra Resort and Casino, you never really need to leave the property with the 50,000 square foot gaming space, 2,000 hotel rooms, 10 restaurants, a 50-lane bowling alley, a movie theater, a wedding chapel, pool, sports book, shopping center. It's all right here at Grand Sierra.
Okay, so he vocalizes, and it's a little bit longer of a delay by the time between when he vocalizes and when he puts it out. Looks like he's also putting it a little lower.
Starts with Duke, who raises
I
it to
kind of
48.
I almost want to just like I almost want to do that. I almost want to just like focus on Duke for like a full 5 hours and just take every single time he raises and cut it up in like a little video editor, put it right next to each other when he's strong versus weak, because I think that we see big differences between his vocalizations, how he's putting the chips out, and how he's looking around. He's actually pretty active as far as exhibiting information. Fortunately for him, I don't really think that it matters so much. I think that it's so much more important to be able to pick up on opponents' tells than try to hide your own. Because I think if we really spend a lot of time with it, I think that we could have a lot of fun with Peg and Duke on some of these tells.
8,000 with his ace king. Now over to Larry, and he picks up a hand. Pocket queens for Larry.
This is one of those hand versus hand controversies.
Larry's going to re-raise, as he should. A 3-bet now to 125,000. Kevin gets out of the way.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see a shove here from Duke. He's been playing so many hands, they can't keep thinking he has a big hand every time.
Duke likes to get aggressive. We saw it last week. Now Duke is all in, and this is going to be an easy call, I think, for Larry.
Well, it would be an easy call for me, but, oh, yep, it's an easy call for Larry, too.
Larry's going to make the call. He's ahead in the hand, but you know how this works. He's up against two big overcards. Pocket queens going up against big slick ace king. Larry at risk, trying to double up.
Is at risk. Everybody is currently in the lead with pocket queens.
And the flop, 2 8s and a 5. So far, so good.
Yeah, that's a lot of chips.
Duke
Yeah,
needs
a
an
lot.
ace or a king to eliminate Larry.
Larry's 66 years old from San Jose, California. He's retired.
Oh, look at this!
Just like that, the turn card is the ace of clubs.
Now, Larry needs a queen, or he's going to get knocked out.
2 outs for Larry, otherwise he's going to hit the rail in 5th place. The shades are off. He's ready to stand up. We go to the river card. Not a queen. It's the deuce of spades. And that's going to do it for Larry. He's eliminated in 5th place, but not for nothing. He's going home.
So Larry losing with pocket queens there. Chicago Realty now asking, is this a correct shove with ace king this deep? They are really deep. Both of them were really deep there. They both had over 30 big blinds. I think we were looking at, what, like 32 big blinds for Larry and more for Duke. Duke, I'm pretty sure, was the chip leader to start the hand, but this would have swung Larry back into the chip leader position because Larry had, I'm pretty sure, 30-something bigs. I think he was looking at over 700 and like 30, 40,000. So when Duke makes it a 2x raise, there's 2 big blinds. You got Larry re-raising 2.5x that, so 5 big blinds. And now Duke shoving for close to 35 bigs. Is that too much to shove with ace king?
I mean, shorthanded. No, I don't mind it. I mean, I have no problem with a 4-bet as well. But ace king, you want to see all 5 cards.
Yeah.
And if Duke has him covered, it's only for, what would you say, 35 bigs?
Yeah. So it also,
I don't mind it.
making the call sure puts Duke in an awkward situation where he's only going to see 3 of the cards. I think a 4-bet also gets a lot of smaller pocket pairs to fold, which Duke is fine with. I mean, if you're in Larry's spot, obviously queens is a call there, but how big of a pocket pair do you need to be calling for your whole stack there for 30-something bigs when Duke makes a shove?
Yeah, I guess I would need probably queens.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm probably calling with jacks there and feeling really sick about it.
Yeah, I would hate it with jacks.
And
I would probably find the call as well. You're shorthanded.
I
would hate it.
I think that I'm probably tanking for eternity with pocket 10s. I think pocket 9s and under, I'm probably making the fold. And Duke loves the fold. If I have pocket 9s, Duke is fine with me folding that. So I don't think that 35 bigs is too much to shove there, especially since Duke has Larry covered. And if Larry does double through Duke, Duke still has somewhere over 20 bigs, I think. So I think it's a fine shove. I think that's kind of one of those hands that kind of played itself, and it's really not too much to learn by overanalyzing it. If the only thing that I would really want to learn from this hand is is trying to spot differences between the way Duke puts out chips with ace king versus the way he puts out chips with queen 7.
With just over $12,000.
It always eases the pain when you get some cash to go home.
When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of tonight's HPT final table. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to the HPT. It's James Larson and professional poker player Robert Williamson III. We're broadcasting in Reno, Nevada. You're at the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. Before we get back to the action, what's your prediction? Who do you think takes this thing down?
I'm going with HPT Tour regular Marty Goretz. I just think that he seems like he's got a lot of heart and he's hungry tonight. Tonight is his night.
Okay, and this is after they've already called the final table action. They know who wins now. So these guys are. This is just for anybody who's like watching one of these and deciding to make bets with their friends. This is a good opportunity to make a bet like that because they're always going to call out one of the regulars as a pick if he doesn't win it. So the fact that Robert Williamson III calls out Marty here would make me want to actually give odds that Marty doesn't win. They know who wins at this point. They are not watching live. In fact, they've already done all the final table analysis at this point when they actually suit up and get in front of the cameras to do this segment of the production. So because they want to keep on encouraging regulars on the HPT circuit to keep on showing up, it's also going to depend on who makes the call. Okay, but. Yeah, anytime they pick like Craig Casino to win it, chances are Craig Casino does not win it. So just know that for when you're at home watching with your buddies and decide to get decide to make the prop bets.
Whoever does win it is going to go home with the cash, the bracelet, and the bragging rights. Duke Lee, he's your chip leader. Right behind him is Marty. Rounding out the group is Rob and Kevin. Up top tonight, $59,494, but we give you a shiny bracelet as well, a silver bracelet.
Yeah, and I don't see how anybody who's watching this can pick anybody but Duke to actually win it. He's the most active at the table. He's just kind of running over everybody. I'm not saying no spoilers or anything. Do you want to make a pick? Do you feel like?
Well, I mean, Duke's a heavy favorite, that's for sure. But I still want to see Rob get more chips. I feel like if Rob can get Duke heads up, Rob may have a chance of winning.
I think it's a good way to call it. Let's see what happens.
The title HPT champion.
Yeah, you get the bragging rights. You can tell everybody you're an HPT champ.
In my world, that's worth a lot more because the money comes and goes.
So you're from Texas. All you guys down there, you're a little off, but we want to welcome all of our Texas friends though watching the show. Thanks for supporting the HPT. I don't want to get any hate mail.
Gonna say, come on, yeah, everything's a little bigger in Texas.
Right.
You're gonna get a big, bad, nasty letter.
So under the gun, Rob's gonna raise to $50,000 with his ace four of hearts. Action over.
Can you really call it under the gun at this point? They're four-handed, under the gun, in the cutoff. I don't know, I guess. Ace four of hearts seems like a pretty standard raise. I think that if we were going to rewind the tape and look at the pocket kings, we'd see a little bit of a difference in the way, in Rob's reaction here. But four-handed ace four is a strong enough hand. Should be making the raise.
Marty now looks down at the blackjack hand. 6-5 suited in spades. Hand selection, obviously, a lot different now from when we started with 9. Now we're down to 4 players.
Yep, suited connectors for Marty. A liberal call in this position.
So 2 players, Marty and Rob. The 6-5 going up against the ace-4.
Like I've said before, when you're down to 4 players, the less players, the bigger those hands get. Ace anything is a big hand right now.
The flop, couple of trays, and a 9, 2 hearts.
And Rob flops a flush draw.
He's going to bet $60,000. Action over to Marty. Marty's been playing these HPT events for years. Originally from Florida. Now he lives out here in Reno. He moved a couple of years ago. Marty's going to
He used the little chips. He didn't take the big stack.
Yeah, you're right. And this is a stone cold bluff. So maybe there's not too much to figure out from there. He makes the announcements, fires it out. Pretty fluid. This is gonna hurt. So Marty here representing a pocket pair, I guess. I guess he's the 9-3-3 should miss both of these players. So Marty making the raise here.
What do you think Rob's gonna do? I think Rob's coming back over the top here.
I think that Rob should come over the top. If I'm in Rob's situation, I'm coming over the top of Marty. But Rob might put Marty on absolutely nothing. I could see Rob putting Marty on absolutely nothing, looking at his ace and thinking that he's actually ahead with an ace high, and letting Marty go ahead and fire out a big bluff on the turn, and hero calling it with ace high. That would be the sick line. If you know that Marty has 6-5 of spades here, then the right move would be to make the call and check to him on the turn. And I feel like Rob is looking at his ace high, thinking he's ahead. So maybe he lets Marty keep on bluffing. But if I'm in Rob's spot, I'm just re-raising.
Raised to 140,000. Why not? You got 6-5 of spades.
Yeah, that flop doesn't fit your hand, Marty.
And now Rob is going to make the call. That's probably going to slow Marty down a little bit here on these next couple of...
I don't think it does slow Marty down. I think that if Rob checks this turn, Marty's going to continue with this bluff.
The streets, but we'll see. A pot of over 420,000 chips.
These are the hands that I love, Paul. This is what I love. I love it when I really want to see the turn come a blank for both of these players. I really wanted to see to see it come like a two of clubs, and then watch what Rob does and what Marty does. This is when I love seeing hero calls, and I love seeing gutsy two barrel bluffs.
4 players remain. Guaranteed money right now for fourth place is 16,515.
Here we
Queen
go.
of clubs comes on the turn.
An innocent queen on the turn. Let's see if Rob figures out he actually has the best hand.
So Rob's going to check now. Action on Marty. We'll see if he continues to bluff at this.
200.
He's going to do that. Got to respect that. 200,000.
Yeah, that's a big enough bet that Rob could lay this down.
It's kind of an interesting little flare at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a big enough bet that Rob could lay this down. Marty representing strength.
Marty's 58 years old. 220,000 in lifetime earnings. And
Wow, this is...
Wow.
I don't think Rob is calling because he's hoping for a heart. I think Rob is calling because he thinks his ace is good.
Right, yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah.
Like this one bit, Rob does make the call. So a big pot of brewing here. 4 players remain. We go to the river card now, and the river card is the ace of clubs. Real bad news now for Marty.
Wow. So if you're Rob, I guess that you just check to him and let him fire out that that third bullet. The ace is pretty much the perfect bluff card for Marty, and that's what I'm doing if I'm Rob, checking. This is the plan. I mean, like if a heart came, I guess I'm checking. If an ace comes, I'm checking. If anything comes on the river, the way that Rob played this, there's not a river card that comes that I'm not checking to Marty and letting him fire out.
Action on Rob. We'll see if he decides to bet. He's got 2 pair now, aces and trays.
Yeah, check call would be my instinct.
Wow,
Oh my
look at that.
gosh, and Marty triple barrels. He moves all in.
Marty's all in. Can Rob make this call, Robert?
It's a very, very, very tough call to make.
Marty bluffing all the way.
Is it a very, very, very tough call to make? I mean, right now what Marty is saying is I've got a 3.
Right, he either has a 3 or he doesn't.
He's got a 3 or nothing. So with an ace where you don't have to worry about kicker problems at this point, is it really that tough of a call to make? I'll tell you what's a tough call to make is if that ace of clubs is a 2 of clubs and you're sitting here with ace 4. That is a tough call to make. But I actually think that Rob could have made that call. I think he's calling on the turn, thinking he's ahead, thinking that when he checks the river, Marty's going to fire out a big bluff on the end. I think he's prepared to call him with ace high. So he's definitely calling now.
Down to the end. Rob on a huge decision, and he's going to make the call. Wow. He makes the call. Just a stone cold bluff by Marty. He had 6-5. Rob,
they talk about this call on the river like it's an amazing call, but it's not. The call on the turn is an amazing call. Making the call on the turn, thinking that your ace high is good, in my opinion, that's where he made the good call. Calling in the river seems pretty standard. I don't really feel like we should be praising that. If anything, you gotta give Marty, props for actually having the balls to fire 3 barrels with 6 high. Yeah.
Rob makes the call.
Wow, and that's why when I fire those first 2 barrels and he calls, I don't come with a 3rd barrel because what happens if he calls?
The ace of clubs comes on the river.
I don't know. Did you hear the advice from Robert there? Yeah.
No, I try kind of like not to listen to them because they're pretty off.
Yeah. I like Robert, but this might be this is not really that great of a this is not his high point of commentary right here when he says this.
2 barrels and he calls. I don't come with a 3rd barrel because what happens if he calls?
The ace of clubs comes on the river. Probably any other card that's not a heart. Maybe Marty gets away with that bluff. But the fact that Rob caught that ace on the river, he makes the call. A pot of over 1.6 million chips.
A monster pot at this stage.
Yeah, I got to say, Paul, I think if the ace doesn't come, I think that he still calls. I think he still calls with ace high. And I think that that is the... Yeah, I really wish that river was something else, because I think that Marty firing out the 3rd barrel is definitely one of those, I think it's a respectable play, and but calling anybody with ace high when all the cards are out is really tough. But I think Rob was ready to do it. I really wish that river card was like another 3, or like some random card that didn't help either one of them.
I wonder if Rob thought that Marty also had hearts in this spot.
Yeah, he could have. He could have put him on something like like a 7-6 of hearts or a 6-5 of hearts.
To the tournament.
So Robert, how does Marty not steam and tilt and get crazy now? He's got to just be burning up.
Sometimes you just got to stand up and breathe.
He's still got chips. He's still alive. There's no reason to get crazy. Well, he's first to act here. Blinds 12,000, 24,000 with a 3K ante. He's going to fold. Action now over to Kevin. He wakes up with pocket kings on the button.
Definitely see a raise from Kevin here. I'm pretty positive.
64.
He's going to raise to 64,000, but look at this.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy, here we
Gotta
go.
think 2 jacks is good at this spot.
So Duke wakes up with pocket jacks. He likes to gamble. I see a 3-bet in our future. And there it is, the 3-bet going to 187,000. Boy, all of a sudden here at this final table, we're seeing fireworks.
And Rob's got a tough-ish decision. Ace-10, he can wait for another hand.
Rob's
Good
gonna
fold, Rob.
Over to Kevin. It's 123,000 chips for Kevin to make this call. And now he's all in. And Duke's going to make the call. It's kings versus jacks. I say it a lot here on the HPT. Duke ran his hand right in to the buzzsaw, my friend. There's still a flop, turn, and river. It's not over yet, but right now, Kevin in very good position to double up.
It's so disgusting when you Duke here with pocket jacks.
4-1 dog.
And the flop is Queen Jack 7, and just like that, Duke flops a set.
Now he's got Kevin in bad shape.
Kevin can't believe it. Duke flops a set of jacks. We go to the turn card now. It's the 8 of hearts.
Only the 2 kings left in the deck can save Kevin.
Poker is not always fair, let me tell you, my friend. 2 cards in the deck that will help Kevin. That's not one of them. It's the ace of spades. The winner of the hand is Duke. Kevin's eliminated, and he's shocked.
And what a big pot they played.
That's so brutal, man. That's so brutal. Four-handed kings versus jacks.
$750 invested.
Ugh.
He's going home with 16,515, and hopefully he'll say hello to all of our friends over there in Fargo, North Dakota. Action continues here from the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino right here in Reno, Nevada. I'm James Larson, joined with Robert Williamson III. And Duke's going to raise to 50,000 with his ace-7.
Duke continues his aggression, but Marty wakes up with a big hand here. Ace-queen off in 3-handed poker? That's like aces in a full ring game.
Now we saw earlier that Marty lost a big hand on a big bluff. He's all in here now with his ace-queen. Action back to Duke.
Wow,
Duke's going to fold, and the winner of the hand
I'm kind of
is
surprised,
Marty.
too.
He's 58 years old from Reno, Nevada.
I mean, I kind of feel like Duke is so willing to gamble it up. He's got all the chips in the world. He's got a short stack making a shove for what was it, like 12 bigs, I think. So I'm kind of surprised that Duke makes the fold here too, because I think that Marty could be making a 3-bet shove with a pretty wide range at this point. I mean, he's definitely he's definitely feeling just down now. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the guy showed he's willing to bluff it off with 6 high.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I could fold ace-7 there if I'm Duke, but I guess it's a good fold.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I do either. Not 3-handed.
He's trying to win his first HPT title. 3 players remain. Up top, $59,494. When we come back from this quick break, we'll have more exciting final table action.
It was a good fold. It was a good fold, Duke.
Welcome back to the HPT. James Larson and Robert Williamson III, broadcasting from the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino right here in Reno, Nevada. Duke Lee, he's your chip leader. Rob Mitchell right behind him. And Marty, unfortunately now, he's last in chips with just 8% of the chips in play. He's going to have to pick a position and try to double up.
Even worse, he bluffed off those chips.
I know he's going to feel bad about this one.
Robert Williamson III saying, even worse, he bluffed off all of his chips. Is that worse? Is it really worse, like, you know, losing when you're bluffing off your chips, or losing when you make bad calls? I mean, in all seriousness, Paul, do you find yourself do you find do you find that you beat yourself up more when you get eliminated in certain ways?
That's a good question. I want to say I beat myself up more when I make bad plays that just aren't necessary. Like the other day, I was, there were 45 left in this tourney, and I should just played this ace-10 hand differently. I leveled myself into opening, the big blind defends, I get check raised from the big blind, and I'm thinking I can rep an overpair here, but it's really not necessary for me to do in that spot. Yeah. So I was mad at myself for doing that.
Yeah, I think that I probably beat myself up most out when I make bad calls to check raises. Like when a guy check raises me on the turn, and I decide, oh no, he's on some sort of weird semi bluff and he's taking a weird line. But no, he has a full house. Those kind of bad calls, I think, is when are the spots when I beat myself up the most. I definitely don't beat myself up the most for bluffing. I don't think bluffing is the worst way to get knocked out of a tournament. I'm gonna have to disagree with Robert Williamson here, and he says worse.
It's never fun to make a hero call with ace high and you're just completely wrong.
Yeah,
and you're out. That's pretty brutal, and then you're kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because you either look like a genius or an idiot.
Okay, so not too much longer now. We got 3 players left.
12,000, 24,000 with a 3K ante.
Marty looks like he's just done with it. He's so over this tournament.
He's going to raise it up to 50,000 with his queen 8. Visually, you can just see that Marty's just a little tilted, Robert.
Yeah, he's definitely off his game. He's not playing quite the kind of a poker that he was playing earlier today.
He had that big bluff. He kind of took a ride on the wild side, and things didn't work out. And Duke Lee now is your chip leader. And Duke is going to re-raise now to 147,000. Everything going the way of Duke. Action now on Rob.
Everything except for the fact that Rob's woke up.
That's pretty interesting, making the call there from Rob. I almost kind of feel like Rob is sensing that Marty might do something desperate here.
Well, I like the just call from Rob also because you're 3-handed, you have the pay jumps, and they have all the chips. Marty has no chips, so you're not really looking to get in a massive 4, 5, 6 betting war with 1 and 2 in chips when that third stack is so short.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's a great point. I mean, there's ICM considerations here that Rob has to be thinking of too. Let's see if Marty decides to just shove.
But ace queen here.
So Rob is going to make the call, squeezes into the hand here.
3-handed.
Ace queen, a quiet call. Ace queen of diamonds. Marty's going to make the call, so all 3 players go into the flop. Ace queen, ace 9, queen 8. All right, we go to the flop now, and it's 9, 8, 7, couple of hearts.
Well, Duke jettisons into the lead, but Marty caught the second pair. This could be potentially trouble for him.
I think so. Marty's just had a tough go around, and I think he's just going to get them all in the middle, and he does just that. Action over to Duke. He's trying to get a chip count.
Yeah, and this hand pretty much plays itself.
Mm-hmm.
Duke's going to make the call. Rob's going to get out of the way, and Marty's going to see that he needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, I don't think that Marty makes a mistake here making the shove. I mean, there's so much in the pot, and both of them check. Both the players check to him. Why not think that a pair of eights is actually the best hand here? Just kind of one of those situations playing itself. I mean, you're never getting away from this hand, right?
I mean, I'm not going to be in the hand pre-flop.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man.
Duke in the lead with his ace-9, pair of nines with the top kicker. Marty with a pair of eights needs to improve, otherwise he's going to be eliminated in third place. So we're going to flip over the cards. Duke is in the lead with his pair of nines, top kicker. Marty's going to need some help or he's going to be eliminated.
He's got some
in
outs
third
now.
place. The turn card is the Jack of
Good luck,
Hearts.
Marty.
Great card for Marty's hand. Gives him a lot more outs. Now, any heart, a 10, an 8, or a queen, and Marty's going to stay in this tournament and get a nice double up.
Feels like half the deck, but it's not. The King of Spades comes on the turn. Marty had so many outs, but the King of Spades wasn't one of them. He's now eliminated, going out in third place with $22,461. But for the next couple of hours, or maybe the next couple of days, or next couple of months, I think Marty's going to be thinking about that big bluff with the 6-5 of spades.
I think next time he's going to have to use that on the blackjack table, not the poker.
So Marty going out in third place, and now it's time for Heads Up Poker. Blinds are 15,000, 30,000 with a 4K ante. Robert, I don't know what it is about Heads Up
Marty,
Poker, but I
we
love
didn't
watching
see
it.
the whole tournament, right? So maybe Marty got this deep in the tournament playing just like that.
Yeah, and even like the live stream, we never did get to see the hole cards, and Marty definitely was making moves. Even the hands that we saw, the limited hands in these two episodes, he was making moves.
I mean, maybe he was chipping up, putting pressure on people like that, and he figures, it was so deep in the tourney, they have to have it for them to call off.
Yeah, I liked the play. I didn't think it was a bad play. I thought it was a fine play. I really respected three. I always respect 3-barrel bluffs. It just didn't happen. And I really wish that the ace didn't come so we could see if Rob actually had the heart to make the ace high call. That would have been my dream hand. If I could go back and change the river, I would have made the river no help to either one of them just to see what happens. Because I think it plays out the same way. I think Rob makes the call. I think he's a sicko. He got in his head that Marty had a flush draw. On the turn, he was a little bit worried that maybe he had the queen of hearts, but decided that he didn't. And then I think the river, he decides that they both missed their flush.
You get to play a lot more hands too. It's a lot more fun.
Rob's going to raise to 75,000. Now a 3-bet by Duke with King 4. He's going up to 200K.
Yeah, I don't know if Rob's going to be able to match Duke's aggression.
Heads Up Poker is just such a different animal. We started with.
I think it was Rob. I think Rob had the button opened, and Duke is re-raising.
9 players. Now we're down to 2.
I wish they would have the button on the graphics here. It would definitely help with the heads up.
Rob's going to make the call, and I like to see aggressive play.
Yeah, there it is.
Especially
button
if
on
you've
Rob.
got more chips than your opponent. Be aggressive. The flop is ace-9 tray. Couple of spades.
No help to either player.
Duke's going to check over to Rob.
There's a lot of hands that Rob could be holding here that have an ace in them, and Rob's going to represent it. Great bet by Rob.
Rob's going to bet 125,000. Action over to Duke.
So less than a third pot.
Professional poker player.
When Rob's making the bet, I guess he's representing a weakish ace. If I'm Duke, I'm probably c-betting here. I'm not giving Rob an opportunity to fire out a bet here.
And Duke's going to make the call, 125.
Wow. What's the plan here, Paul? I mean, what's going on in Duke's head?
I don't know what Duke's thinking. Maybe his plan's to float here and then lead the turn. Like, he can't think that King High is good in this spot. I mean, maybe.
I think that's exactly what he thinks. I think he's looking down at King 4 and thinking that King High is the best hand.
I mean, what turn card is he hoping for? I guess for the pair of the board. There's so many turn cards you're going to hate.
Yeah.
and a great bet by Rob, but Duke counters by this great float.
All right, we go to the turn card now. It's the ace of clubs.
That's a great turn card for King. I don't really feel like this is a float from Duke. I mean, a float, it is more, the play where you're bluffing, where you're making a call with the idea of betting a better hand off. I mean, I don't think that a float is really calling with the best of it. Maybe I have my terms off, but it doesn't seem like this is really a float from Duke. It feels like
I'm thinking that he doesn't think he has the best hand, but maybe he does think he has the best hand, because I would think he's just calling here to try to rep something on the board when he believes that he has a slightly worse hand than the other guy. So yeah. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think Duke is looking down at King High and thinking he's got the best hand.
Yeah, well, now it looks pretty good with that turn card.
It looks a lot better.
He's going to check over to Rob. Now Rob slows down. He checks. You probably would have liked.
So I think if I'm Duke here, I'm probably checking the river as well and inducing hoping to induce a bluff by Rob.
Yep.
And the only thing that can come on the river here where I'm going to be betting is probably a king. And then I'm just going to be value betting, and because I don't really think that Rob is going to be. I don't think Rob fires out a bluff if a king hits. Maybe then I'm hoping that my read is wrong and that he calls me with like 9-10, 9-jack.
Yeah, let's see what he
maybe a bet there, Robert?
Yeah, at that point, I think you got to bet one more time.
Yeah. So here's where I fire out a bet. This is the only river card where I don't just check call. Now I actually value bet and hope that my initial read was wrong. This is where I'm hoping that now I hope that I wasn't ahead on the flop, and that Rob had like a pair of nines or pocket sixes or something.
What's your sizing up here? Like 280 or 325-ish?
I'm probably making it like 215, 220, somewhere around a third pot.
Hearts. So Duke now with two pair, aces and kings. We'll see if he decides to bet.
I think you'll see a little value bet. Duke doesn't let much value slip away. Well, as I say that, he checks.
Duke's going to check. Rob's going to...
Yeah. See, I think that it wouldn't have mattered, because Rob's never paying off a bet anyway. But some hands like 8-9, 9-7, 10-9, Jack-9, the 4-3s and the 4-5s, things like that, or not the 4-5s, the 3-5s, those kind of weird hands. I think that Rob probably doesn't go for value on the end when the king hits. So would have been interesting to see what would have happened if the king was something else. Maybe Rob probably just gave up on the turn when he got called.
Check. It's the first hand, a heads up. I think they're feeling each other out, but the winner of the first hand is Duke Lee. A lot of money on the line tonight.
And that's kind of an interesting one. Rob sitting there shaking his head like, almost like he's trying to act like Duke just sucked out on him.
Right.
$69,494 for first place. Quite a jump, because second place is $36,994.
I was just thinking, oh man, okay, this guy's a call
heads up match.
Over $20K extra, but don't forget the title, HPT champion, and the bracelet.
You can't forget about that bracelet. We want to thank Kenny Lambert for getting that bracelet involved here with our HPT champions. He's our director of operations. Blinds are 15,000, 30,000 with a 4K ante. It's heads up poker. Rob's going to raise it up. 9-7 of clubs. Going to go to 75,000. Over to Duke Lee. He's going to re-raise with his king 10. We know how important a king is heads up here.
Aces and
so
kings.
Versus a player who 3-bets out of position a lot, I actually bring in a lot of button limps, and I balance my ranges with my button limps. That way I take it post flop versus them, and I'm not put in these spots with these hands. Like, I figure it's just much harder for them to play that way.
This is something we were talking about earlier about when you should open limp on when you're heads up, and I'm kind of inclined to think that maybe you're right here, Paul. I just never do it. I never open limp, and even when the guy is just re-raising very liberally, I just kind of let him do it and make the call and say, okay, well, we're going to be playing big pots, but I'm still going to have the positional advantage. If there is a time to open limp, though, this would be it, where you got an opponent who has you out chipped and is making 3-bets very liberally. we saw him make that 3-bet with King 4, and now he's making the 3-bet with King 10. It doesn't seem like he has to have much to make the 3-bet. So, yeah, I don't
want to blow every pot up.
I still kind of hate the open limps on the button. I still kind of hate it, but at the same time, a lot of great players are doing it, and it does seem like, maybe I need to go ahead and re-examine my own game.
Cards heads up.
So the re-raise is to 200. Rob's going to make the call.
Duke's aggression continues.
Duke Lee is proving that you can make the transformation from the cash game to the tournament game. Flop is Jack 6-5, couple of hearts.
No real help for either player. Rob has a gut shot straight draw, however.
The bet is $250,000 by Duke. Like Robert just said,
That's a
Rob
tough
got
position.
Got shot straight draw.
And I
so
do
he's
like
probably
the
gonna
fact
see
that Rob's
the
calling
next
3
street.
bets in
The bet
position
was a
instead of just
$250,000.
raising and folding, calling
Rob's
3
gonna
bets.
make the call. First place tonight, $59,494. One of these lucky players will be our new HPT champion. Turn card now is the Tray of Clubs.
Wow, that's a great card for Rob's hand. Gives him an additional straight draw with a 4, but also a flush draw.
Duke's going to check, and Rob is all in now. And I think this is going to be pretty easy for Duke to get away from. He does just that. The winner of the hand is Robert Mitchell.
That was a pretty big bet there. 1.5 million into 900,000. I guess Rob's looking at his hand and thinking, okay, well let's go for it.
Yeah.
If he makes like a half pot size bet, he just opens himself up to be the one calling, and he makes it so that he can miss on the river, and then what? I guess he decided.
I like the all in right there.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I hate it when it gets called. The guy snap calls you, and you're like, oh damn it.
37 years old from Long Beach, California, trying to win his first ever HPT title. We'll be right back after these messages. You're watching the HPT. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm James Larson, joined by Robert Williamson III. We started with 155 players, and now we are down to our final 2. Will it be Duke or will it be Rob?
Can't tell you which one's going to win, but for sure there's going to be one thing happening. They're going to duke it out.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's Rob Mitchell and Duke Lee. They're neck to neck, very close in chips. And what's the mindset as you're playing heads-up poker? Are you still trying to figure out your opponent at this time?
Yeah, but more of a strategy to just
Let's see what they're doing here again. Look at this.
Will it be Rob?
Can't tell you which one's going to win, but for sure there's going to be one thing happening. They're going to duke it out.
I didn't mean to rewind it that far. I didn't want to hear that again.
It's Rob Mitchell and Duke Lee. They're
So
are way off.
Like way off. First place here is 58, like 59,000. They got Marty sitting here with 67,000. I'm really surprised that they messed this up as hard as they did here.
Neck and neck, very close in chips. And what's the mindset as you're playing heads-up poker? Are you still trying to figure out your opponent at this time?
Yeah, but more of a strategy to just dissect them.
Blinds of 15,000, 30,000 with a 4K ante. Action is on Duke Lee. Said this before, primarily a cash game player, but he's made the transformation with no problems here tonight at this final table. So a re-raise now by Rob with King Jack going to 225,000. Duke with pocket sixes. We might see all the chips get in the middle here, Robert.
Yeah, I think they're still sitting too deep for all of them to go in, but I do expect to see some good action.
And Duke is going to make the call. So Duke, the original raiser, a re-raise by Rob, and then Duke makes the call. Pocket sixes going up against the Jack 10. And we go to the flop. It's Ace 10 9.
All overcards to Duke's pair, so he's not going to like that flop. A gut shot straight draw for Rob.
Rob's first
What's your
act.
C-bet going to be here?
The players
I'm going for about half
to
pot,
each other.
225.
Yeah, I would actually go for less.
Where are you going?
I would fire like 145.
Okay.
I think it's going to accomplish the same thing.
There yet, Robert. Rob bets 225,000.
I like that lead. He's shown the original aggression. Now continuation bet the flop.
And Duke's going to fold, so the winner of the hand is going.
I kind of feel like when you're making it less than you make it pre-flop. I mean, wasn't it Rob making Duke raised 75, Rob raised to 200. So if he fires out 145, it just feels like a lot of times it's going to open it's going to induce bluffs that you don't really want to induce. On the other hand, it does look like you have an ace. It looks like you have ace queen and ace jack, and you're just trying to milk the guy. Definitely,
I guess it depends if you're playing against, but it just looks stronger. It seems to be working for me a lot, I guess.
It's definitely going to be one of those exploitive moves that is going to be pretty player dependent.
Going to be Robert Mitchell from Long Beach, California. He's got $490,000 in lifetime earnings. He told us he met some of his closest friends playing poker, and I have to say the same thing, being a part of this TV show, being on the road for as many years as I was, getting to know people in the poker industry and the players. Some of my best friends now come from poker. Blinds are 20,000, 40,000 with a 5K ante. Rob's going to raise to 100,000 with his king 8 of hearts.
And Duke looks down at the 10-8 of clubs. And once again, re-raises.
A re-raise now, going up to 250,000.
It's hard to put either one of them on a hand. They're both playing so fast and aggressive. It's just hard to figure out what they've got.
Action over to Rob, and that's the thing with heads-up poker too, because the hand selection, the range is. There's so many hands you could possibly be playing and raising with. The flop now, a couple of trays and a queen, 2 hearts.
And that gives Rob a flush draw.
200,000.
And now Duke just a continuation bet here of 200,000. Rob likes that flop with the 2 hearts. He's going to make the call.
200,000 and a call.
I think unless Duke...
Do you just call there, Paul, or are you making the raise there if you're Rob?
Well, if I make the raise, I have to be ready to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would make the raise and be ready to go with it against Duke.
I think I would too. I think that by just making the call, you put yourself in kind of an awkward spot on the turn, and it's going to kind of suck. There's going to be a lot of turn cards that come, and Duke's going to where Duke continues to fire. Sometimes he catches up. Sometimes he's already ahead and he's going to blow you off of a hand that had a lot of equity. On the flop, you're never really in that bad a shape here on a queen 3-3 board when you've got king 8 of hearts. I kind of feel like a raise would be better. And then that also sets you up for if Duke makes the call, he's probably going to check the turn, and you do get to go ahead and just check back and get it.
You want to have a plan. You don't want your plan to be, you don't want to turn your hand into a bluff where you raise and you're going to fold. So you want to know what you're going to do next if you raise.
I think raise here on the flop and be ready to go with it if Duke comes over the top of you. But if he just makes the call and then checks to you on the turn and you miss the flush, maybe you just go ahead and check back on the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Get some help here on the turn. Surely he'll realize he's behind.
Turn card now is the 9 of spades. Action once again with Duke. He's slowing way down. We'll see if Rob wants to take off a free card, but I'm thinking he might bet here.
I would have to.
See, I don't like the bet here. I feel like, it's like, okay, great. Now you have a free card on the turn. Maybe you're ahead. But if you're not ahead, you're probably going to get called if you fire out a bet here. And if you are ahead, then
he's capable of making too many spewy plays.
Yeah. I don't like the bet. It looks like Rob is going to bet, but I don't like it.
His position.
Okay, good. He made the check.
Doesn't agree with mine.
Doesn't agree with either of us here. He's going to check. We go to the river. No heart. It's the 10 of diamonds.
That does give Duke the pair.
So that's just brutal. That's just brutal.
So brutal.
So he's got he's got 5. He's got 5 outs there, and he actually hits one of them. That's just
Duke now with 10s and trade.
And if you're Duke, do you go for maybe a little value bet here when you hit your 10 on the end? I mean, it's kind of hard to put Rob on a queen. It's kind of hard to put him on a 3. It's also kind of hard to think that that checking is gonna induce the bluff. I don't know.
For me, I go for a check call.
Check call
from Duke.
Rob's going to have to make a bet to win this hand.
I think Rob waited too long now. He's going to get called
wow.
whatever bet he makes.
So checking does induce the bluff by Rob. He fires out 325,000. Pretty quick,
I always
too.
say in poker, we're storytellers. If you tell a story that's believable, you can get people to manipulate them to do what you want them to do. The story here is not believable because Rob checked the turn.
And
If he has a
Duke's gonna
queen,
make the
why
call,
is he
a
checking
great
the turn?
call at that.
Yeah.
He's going to win the hand. Duke with tens and trays takes down a pot of over 1.5 million chips.
Great call by Duke. Great check too. I like that. Give Rob a chance to bluff off his money.
It's heads-up poker at its best here on the HPT. If you think you have what it takes to play at this nationally televised final table, well, check out our webpage. It's very simple, www.hptpoker.com. Blinds are 25,000, 50,000 with a 5K ante. Duke's going to raise it up to 125,000 with his 9-5. Now Rob makes the call, 7-4.
Two interesting hands for sure.
Yeah, I don't really like Rob's bluff there. You know, I feel like
He was 7-4 here. Are you defending 7-4?
let's see.
He's out of position as well.
It's 25.50 now, and he's making it 125. I think I can probably make the fold here. He's making it 2.5x. I feel like if you're going to fold anything, 7-4 is, you know, offsuit is a fold. So
I
yeah,
think I folded as well.
I'd fold. If Duke was making like min raises, I think I'm making the call, but it's not a min raise. It's a 2.5x raise, so I think it's enough that I can make the fold. Yeah, but going back to that King 8, I feel like Rob has enough showdown equity with King High that he doesn't really need to be bluffing there. You know, Duke's already shown a willingness to be calling a lot. You know, even hero calling. So I don't think, you know, when he's just never getting him to fold anything that's better than, you know, than what he's already got. If he had like a flush draw, which was like a 5-high flush draw, then I think that, yeah, go ahead and make the bluff there on the river. But a king high flush draw actually has showdown value. Your heads up, king high is not, you know, the worst hand that you could be bringing to the showdown. I kind of feel like it was one of those hopeless bluffs by Rob that is kind of, you know, just a mistake.
And we go to the flop.
So Rob does defend, huh?
8-6-5.
Oh,
Wow.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Rob flops a straight.
Just like that, both players check. Turn card now, the tray of spades.
And a pair with a straight draw for Duke.
Rob's going to bet 100,000 chips over to Duke.
Oh, he's definitely going to get paid for that.
Duke's going to make the call. So Rob flops the straight. And now we go to the river card. It's the 8 of diamonds.
it's a good card for the 7-4. It's going to make it a lot easier for Duke to make the call with a pair of fives. How much do you fire out here?
I mean, Duke's willing to call. I might fire 300,000.
I was thinking exactly that, 300,000. I like it going a little bit higher.
And I think Duke is going to be in payoff mode
He 350.
Rob bets 350,000 chips.
because Rob made that first check. It trapped Duke.
He calls.
And Duke is going to make the call. He's going to see the bad news.
I think it's great bet sizing by Rob. It's very exploitive. He's taking advantage of Duke's propensity to make the calls and going for those heavier value bets. I really like it.
The winner of the hand is Rob. What a flop for him.
It sure was, but it was even a better check on the flop.
Robert Mitchell trying to
See?
win his first.
See, this is another situation where I disagree with Robert. I don't think it was really, you know, a better check from Rob on the flop than, you know. I feel like if he would have fired out, he was going to get called all three streets. So actually checking the flop made it so he won a lot less on the hand than if he would have just fired out. But I don't really think that he should fire out because Duke has the initiative pre-flop, and you're kind of expecting Duke to go for a C bet. I'm not saying that I think it was a bad check, but I don't think that
Duke is super aggressive and he likes to hero.
I'm kind of surprised that Duke didn't fire out a C bet. I mean, he actually caught a little piece of that flop, so it's kind of an interesting check back.
HPT title.
It definitely feels like Duke is the kind of player who wants to get two streets of value. You know, post flop, he's looking for two streets of value, and it seems like he checks back a lot of flops that I'd be firing out a C bet.
Right here on national television. The action continues. Blinds are 25,000, 50,000 with a 5K ante. It's James Larson and Robert Williamson III as we broadcast from Reno, Nevada. Action is on Duke. He's got an ace. Any ace heads up. We know how important that is.
Very strong hand indeed.
He's going to raise it up to 125,000 with his ace 4, and his opponent has an ace as well. He's got an ace tray. oftentimes see chops with ace fours and
almost
ace
half
trays.
the time.
So the flop now, queen, 5 deuce, couple of hearts.
So a flush draw for Duke, straight draws for Duke and for Rob.
And Duke also has the steel wheel draw.
Oh, I've been waiting for you to say that.
All right, so the bet is 150,000 by Duke, and Rob is going to make the call. And now we go to the turn card. The turn card is the Jack of Hearts, so Duke makes his flush. What do you want to see Duke do in this situation?
Well, Duke's got to bet something. He's got to try to get some money in the pot, but I don't think he's going to be able to get paid off.
He's just thinking, how can I get more chips from my opponent? And he's reaching for chips. Looks like 400,000 and a quick fold by Rob. Robert, we're going to be here all night. Rob wins a hand, Duke wins a hand. Rob wins a hand, Duke wins a hand.
Is this a poker match or a ping pong match?
It's going to be a lot of fun down the stretch, and we'll have the conclusion after this commercial break.
Well, it's going to be over pretty soon. We got less than 5 minutes left. They still have to wrap up and talk about how great of a steakhouse it
James
is.
Larson and Robert Williamson III here at the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. I promise you, folks, we will crown a champion tonight. It'll either be Duke Lee or Rob Mitchell.
And I'll tell you what, the way things are swinging right now, who knows which one it'll be?
It's exciting poker here on the HPT. Up top, $59,494. Second place, $36,994. Blinds are $25,000, $50,000 with a $5K ante. Heads up poker here from the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. Start with Duke Lee. He's going to raise it up now to $125,000.
The 7-8 of clubs. Rob looks to defend with the Queen 9 offsuit. Oh, he didn't just defend. Wow, these guys are playing so aggressive.
Going to raise it up. Action back now to Duke.
That is a pretty aggressive 3-bet.
Duke makes the call. All right, heads up to the flop we go.
And no surprise, another big pot brewing.
And the flop is 9-6-5, couple of diamonds.
Wow, and Duke flops the absolute nuts again. Rob flops top pair. This could be trouble.
This could be trouble. That's right. Action is on Rob.
Could be it.
And he's all in, Robert.
Yeah, he's going to get an insta-call, too.
And a snap call.
Duke's got the nuts.
Duke is very happy. He's smiling. He's standing up.
Rob's going to need a lot of help, runner outs, or he's going to be out of this tournament.
This could be it. Couple of cards to go.
That's
It
really
may be
sick.
over after this turn card. And the turn card is the Queen of Hearts. So 2 pair now, queens and nines for Rob. It's never
He
easy.
needs either a queen or a 9. At least he has outs.
$59,494 on the line and the bracelet, the title. 1 card to go. It comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. And the river card is the Jack of Spades, close to the Queen.
So there we got it.
Cigar, the man of the hour tonight. Our new HPT champion is Duke Lee. He's going home with the title. He's going home with the bracelet. And he's going home with the cash.
Speaking of cash, almost 60,000 reasons he's going to be one happy camper tonight.
He's joined with Dana Workman. Guys,
Congratulations to our first place winner, Duke, going home with $59,000. Congrats.
Thank you.
Now, I said to Rob that you guys had a very similar playing style. So how did you overcome that dynamic to become the new HPT champ?
Well, I cooled him really, sort of. I mean,
Looks
he's
like
the last guy I wanted to
59,000
face heads up out of the. I mean, everyone played great, but
It's fake money. It's like
Yeah, because
HPT printed money.
stacks look similar to that.
Rob for sure was on my left giving me trouble all day. Yeah, in the last hand, he just flopped top pair in a spot where we're not super deep, and I flopped it straight, so it wasn't very hard. He was trying to probably blow me off of any like high cards or draws, and but I just had it. So
And what about playing with the rest of the guys? How was that?
it's very cool. This is my first final table for the HPT, or actually anywhere really. I bubbled a couple. So yeah, it was fun, and everyone was very nice, and it was cool.
I take it we'll be seeing you back here at one of our locations.
Yeah, I'm heading to Thunder Valley next week.
There we go. All right, well, congratulations, $59,500. Our first place winner and new HPT champ, Duke. Let's throw it back to you guys in the studio. I'm Dana Workman signing out from the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino in Reno, Tahoe.
thanks so much, Dana, and congratulations one more time to our new HPT champion, Duke Lee. Before we go, we have to thank everybody here at the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino. What a week it's been.
Most people come here, they don't want to leave the property. I've been here all week. I never left the property.
Now, if you want to join us on the road for an HPT event, check out our webpage, www.hptpoker.com. For Dana Workman, he's Robert Williamson III. I'm James Larson, and we'll see you next time on the HPT.
Okay, then. What do you think? Lessons learned?
What was the buy-in? It was 1650, 1675, something like that.
1650, yeah. I guess, did the right guy win it? Do you think the right guy won it, Paul?
I mean, he definitely was playing to win.
Yeah. He was easily the most aggressive player at the table. From the very start, he was raising under the gun with all sorts of hands. He was super aggro. I liked the way Rob played it too. I felt like the 3-bet early on with 7-3 suited, pretty much it was just a huge signal that hey, this guy's actually playing some poker too. He's not just waiting around waiting for the hands.
If we were going to pick people watching for like 30 minutes, those two would be the two I would pick to be final two.
Same here. I actually forgot that Duke had won it. I thought that Rob had won it, but then it just came down to kind of a silly hand where it was like top pair, decent kicker against a flopped straight, and there it goes. But I think if there's a lesson to be learned is you really need to be super aggressive at these final tables and be shooting for first. You can't.
Well, I think he was too aggressive in the beginning, though. I think it was unnecessary to be playing the hands he was 9-handed.
He almost went out 9th and 8th.
Right. So I think he could have just slowed it down in the beginning and then turned up the aggression as it became short-handed.
So thanks guys for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. We're going to be doing some more HPT viewing parties down the line between now and the World Series. They are now officially back. So thanks again. I don't think I'm going to be playing for the rest of the night. Are you gonna play something, Paul?
No, I'm going to head to the dog park with Jax and just maybe play some live poker tonight.
Sounds like a good plan.
On tomorrow or Friday.
So when you think you're going to be streaming tomorrow?
It's possible tomorrow, but more likely Friday because I play Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. And guys, if you haven't checked out Paul Daywald's stream yet, make sure to check it out. Paul Daywald Poker, twitch.tv/Paul Daywald Poker. We're gonna have him on the stream a lot between now and the series, I think. Doing some more of these HPT viewing parties because we're on the same tag team. We're going for the bracelet, and we got to get
We should have our whole team here.
Yeah, we should get Jackson and Givens up there on the top left, top right, and
right.
get up to speed. Guys, thanks so much. You guys are all awesome. Really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you later.
All right.